Welcome to the video, guys. We got some more news relating to the EU and showing the country why we need to get out of this useless union as quick as possible. I'm sure most of you are aware about the EU's $1.6 trillion bailout that they have pumped into the various economies of their member states, which, of course, will need to be paid back, and is a reason I have said many times that we need to make sure we get out of the EU, preferably with no deal, or if a deal is struck, it includes a clause where we do not have to shoulder any of their bailout debt. Because obviously we ain't taking none of it and don't want any of it. We will rather deal with our own debt, then we can pay that back. But I think the possibility of this happening has forced the EU's hand, because they are now trying through two different methods to take money off the UK and by extension you and me, the UK taxpayer. With this article from Sky News yesterday and another one we'll take a look at in a moment that they have initiated today. This one headlines though, Brexit. EU launches legal action against UK over freedom of movement. Because in the EU's mind, we have made it too difficult for EU citizens to come over here, which, in my opinion, is a good thing, and we should just ignore this nonsense. Which Tory MPs have also said. Boris Johnson's spokesman has said the government will look at the allegations and respond in due course. Brussels has launched legal action against the UK for alleged failure to comply with EU freedom of movement rules. It sent the government a formal notice, the first stage of infringement proceedings, given 4 months to address the shortcomings. Despite Brexit happening at the end of January, the UK is now in a transition period where it must follow EU rules until the end of 2020, while negotiators try to hammer out a trade deal, as we already knew. The European Commission claimed UK law limits the scope of EU citizens living in the country who can travel between regions without a visa. It gives examples going back years, such as limits on EU citizens' ability to collect job seekers' allowance and unjustified lifetime bans on re-entry, which are not very good examples, let me tell you that. These are things that no EU citizen or any other citizen from any other part of the world should instantly be able to get or entitled to in the same way as someone born in the UK. I would never expect the same benefits and rights as a citizen of another country if I was to move there, so it should not be expected of here, which is obviously what the government, and by the sounds of it the previous government, has been trying to do. The EU, it seems, are not very happy about it. Now they're a bit desperate for money, they're going to take us to court and try and sue us, because that is what their court will do, impose massive fines, for things which I'm sure most of you will agree are just a given and should be able to be controlled by the UK government. Our benefit system is our benefit system, not the EU's, and there is no such thing as an unjustified lifetime ban on re-entry. If the powers that be in this country decide someone's not allowed in this country, that should be the end of it. The same with every nation the world over. Infringement proceedings are launched when an EU country fails to implement EU law and can lead to the European Courts of Justice imposing financial penalties, as I said, and of course is what the EU is really after. And we know there Boris Johnson's going to look at it in due course. We've already read that at the top of the article. Well, we also had this report here in the Express. Brussels attacks UK taxpayers. EU sues Britain as relationship hits rock bottom. This is relating to VAT and the City of London traders. The government has been ordered to pay the European Commission after being sued for handing City of London traders a tax break without the bloc's permission, which, once again, should be absolutely nothing to do with the EU. British taxpayers will be lumped with the bill for Brussels' legal costs from the lengthy trial at the European Court of Justice. The Luxembourg-based court ruled that the UK had breached an EU directive by failing to notify Eurocrats of a zero hand of VAT given to commodities traders. The legal action reinforces Boris Johnson's argument for leaving the post-Brexit transition period when it expires at the end of the year, and reiterates what I've said, that it should be done with a no-deal or WTO Brexit. Britain left the EU on the 31st of January, as we know, and it remains subject to the bloc's rules until the 1st of January. A Treasury spokesman said, "We are reviewing the decision of the European Court of Justice and will provide further details on the next steps in due course. The decision does not require businesses to pay any VAT on historic transactions, and the law applying to derivatives trades today means no VAT is due. That will remain the case while the UK considers the next steps in light of the ruling." The tax row broke out in 2018 when Eurocrats claimed the UK had been extending the scope of zero rates for VAT. So it's been going on for a while now, and they're obviously a little bit salty about it. Tax breaks had initially been given to trade in the future prices of metal, rubber, coffee, sugar, vegetable oil, wood, silver grain, barley, and cocoa in 1970s. But it was claimed the policy had been extended to cover trades on the London potato market, the International Petroleum Exchange of London, the London Meat Futures Market, the London Platinum and Palladium Market, the London Securities and Derivatives Exchange, and the London Bullion Market. The Commission said the government had failed to notify them of the changes. Government lawyers accused Brussels of simply not understanding a complex series of restructuring and said the bloc was being too formalistic, which they were obviously going to do. They want some money out of us. The EU claimed the extension to a new range of trades was not purely formal and were not undertaken simply to take account of the restructuring process. They said the changes had allowed increasing complex type of instruments traded on increasingly complex markets to avoid paying the tax. The ECJ's judges, led by a Frenchman, backed the Commission. Obviously they would. They said the UK's failure to notify the Commission was a breach of the EU rules, which is why we need to say fuck the EU rules and leave on a WTO Brexit. The court said the judgment wouldn't cover whether the Commission should give future authorisation to the extension if the UK makes the request. We are not going to make the request, or at least we better not. It'll be the end of Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister of this country. That I can almost guarantee. This ruling came as Brussels launched further legal action against the UK for allegedly breaking the bloc's free movement rules, as we just heard. And this comment here from RIP UK pretty much sums up both of the articles we've just seen. Screw the EU. Do not give Brussels a single penny. RIP UK, I would have to agree with you 100%. The government should be telling these EU shitweasels that they can take a running jump if they think they are taking taxpayers' money. For what I'm sure you will agree is just some absolute bullshit. The things they are complaining about are just nonsense and should have always been in our government's control. It does seem though that every day we're getting more information coming from the EU that should be telling our government we have to leave on WTO terms. Contact Barnier now and tell him, look, the deal is off, we can't be bothered to do a trade deal with you, it's not worth the effort, you're not worth our time, we're done, we're leaving WTO Brexit January the 31st, so go fuck yourself. But on that note guys, I am going to end the video there. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.